All right, today we're gonna show you how to make a whiskey barrel smoker. Oh yeah. All right, so the first thing you're gonna need obviously is a barrel. I got this from a local distillery. You can look on Craigslist or even Facebook Marketplace. You can use wine or whiskey barrel. All right, so we're gonna need to remove the top. On the outside of the barrel, there's two bands. I used the second to the lowest second band as a guide, and I used a skill saw, and I basically just went all the way around. The cut might not be perfect, but that's all right. I sanded it down on both sides to make it fit a little bit better, and this is kind of what it looks like. Alright, so the second thing you need to do is reinforce the interior. I used metal bands that I got from Home Depot, and I just went all the way around the inside of the barrel at the top on the inside in order to make sure that the individual slats were reinforced. And after you do that, I also did that on the inside of the lid. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, there is some shrinkage that will happen as the wood expands and contracts with heat. And I wanted to make sure that it was as secure as possible. Next thing we're going to do is install some brackets. I did 3 rows of brackets because I wanted one for the top grate, a possible second grate, and also a heat deflector where I could put a water pan. And again, pretty easy, just find brackets at your local Home Depot or Lowe's and install them with self-tapping screws. Now this next step is probably the most tedious there is. What I'm doing is I drilled self-tapping screws, a 3/4 inch, in the rings on the outside of the barrel into every slat. So this takes about an hour. It's just kind of a pain in the ass, but necessary. You definitely want to do this step to, again, make sure that this barrel is sturdy and reinforced as much as possible. Now once this thing is done, it's going to be quite heavy, so I put caster wheels on the bottom, and that way I could push it around the backyard or wherever pretty easily. Now is the time to seal this thing up, so I also put a few coats of polyurethane on the outside in order to seal it. I wanted to prevent as much shrinkage or, you know, with the weather, I want to seal it up as much as possible, so I did a good 2 or 3 coats of the polyurethane all over, top, bottom, outside. I did not do anything to the inside. It has that char, and I didn't want to mess with it. Plus, polyurethane is flammable, so I didn't want to have to risk this thing catching on fire. Now we're going to add a high temperature gasket, and you can find these on Amazon. Almost all the parts I got on Amazon. And we're going to put it all around the top of the barrel and also the bottom of the lid where they're going to connect. And this is to help create a really tight seal. The next thing we're going to do is in the very bottom, I added a thin layer of sand, and then I have 4 fire bricks, and my fire pot is going to sit on top of that. I want as much protection between the bottom of the barrel and the fire as I can possibly get. So for the fire pot, I just bought a little 14-inch backyard barbecue, and I drilled holes in the bottom in order to create more airflow. But you could really use anything. The main thing you want is you want space about 2 inches all the way around, because you don't want open flame to hit or be close to the outside of the barrel. So that's the main thing, and you can pretty much use whatever you want. All right, and then we need some airflow and a vent for the outside. I went with this style. It's actually a replacement part for a Kamado. I just really like the versatility of it, so I took a jigsaw and I cut a square hole, and then I just attached this with bolts, and I drilled all the way through the barrel and put a nut and washer on the other side. That way I could maintain it. And I actually used some spare that fire gasket around the edge in order to create a better seal. All right, we need a stovepipe, a exhaust for the top. So I took a 1 3/4 inch hole saw, because I'm gonna do a 2-inch pipe, and I drilled a hole through the top, and then I bolted on this pipe on the top, and I found this guy online as well. I've seen a bunch of different ways to put on a hinge. I found this hinge for a barrel smoker. There's a bunch of accessories online that you can get parts to build barrel smokers, and I used it, and it works great. You don't have to have the chains or anything. It holds it up automatically, and I really like it. And again, this one I bolted all the way through the barrel with a nut and washer on the other side to make sure that it stayed in place. All right, and I wanted to be able to clamp the lid down and create a better seal for my smoker, so I just put 2 toggle pull latches, one on each side, and it helps a ton. It's pretty amazing. And then I also found a handle and bolted a handle on. And again, these are just accessories. You can kind of build it how you want. I wanted a really tight seal. All right, we are getting down to the final product. At this point, you're adding accessories that you may want. I put in an external temperature gauge. That way I can see what the ambient temperature in the barrel is. I also added a side hook rack so I can hang gloves and things like that. So we're pretty much done, and we're ready to season this thing and fire it up and see what we got.